Hi everybody, Martin at Flicking Feathers again today, and I'm tying this black and red sea trout tandem. This one actually was sent to me by the guy I'm tying them for. He wants me to copy him. It's a nice fly. It's not something that I've ever really fished, but by all accounts they do well. As always, I'll stick a materials list in the description, along with a link to the Patreon page for anyone that wants to support the channel. Get access to the members only content, monthly fly tying classes, and enter the giveaways. Alternatively, you can subscribe, like the video, share the video, that's all appreciated. So I've got the first hook in my vise. I'm going to be stage tying this, so we kind of sort of coming in and out as I go. And I'm going to attach it with fly line backing. Right, this is just standard braided backing, braided dacron, £30, and it's a size 6 Kamasan B175 in the vise. So I'm going to start my thread, and I'm just using Uni 80 in red. I've got a base of thread on the shank first. Near touching turns, it's no super crucial really. Right back to the bend. And then I've got a loop of this is just £6 maximum, it doesn't matter, any kind of fine, reasonably fine monofilament will do. This is just to help thread this. So pull the loop through, and then I can just take the mono out of the loop. Make a nice big loop, take this out, put it up and over, so that the loop is now around the hook. Just tighten that back up, and there we go. And don't worry about the front. I mean, I've got plenty. It's too long, but it's better to have a wee bit much than to find yourself short later. Right, now I like to, when I'm tying these, I sort of let the loop sit sort of just at the back, at the start of the bend. And I'll take a couple of loose wraps of thread and sort of position things, and then so that it doesn't creep, I'll take it to the front and open spirals. Right, that just helps you sort of keep things all aligned along the underside there, and then I'll come back and touching wraps, and I'll come right back. Now you can cover this or you can leave it. I'm just going to leave it because it's white and the body's silver, and you end up with a bump anyway. You know, if you try to flatten that, you'll have an unsightly bump. I'm just coming back along another set of wraps, nice and tight, and then I'll get my body, silver tinsel. Got a decent length. And then I'll just catch this in on the way down again. And this way I'm going to have a nice smooth body. Okay, you'll have that wee white bit at the back, but it's not really that noticeable. And my wee red spot. Although obviously red is a colour that disappears at night. And then we just as normal, just come up, Make sure there wasn't a bump there. Come up the body. Make sure you don't have any spaces. Get to the front and tie it off. Come on, trim away that. Tidy that up. And then I'll just come in and whip finish. And then I'll give this a couple of coats of varnish, and then I'll move on to the front. Now I'm going to tie another 5 of these, so I'll come back to you when I've done all of them and they're all dry. Alright, so the rear sections are ready, or the rear hooks are all done and varnished, and I've got another B175 in here. Obviously, I mean, you can use a different hook if you like, but these seem to be what this is tied on. It might be a full and mill, but they're much the same. And just run on my base of red thread. Now there's a piece of tubing. This is just liner tube from like you would put in a copper or a aluminium tube for tying a tube fly, and that's there to like prevent this from tangling up. It's very, very limp, the fly line backing, so in order that that doesn't tangle while you cast the fly, you need to thread this tube on it. I mean, you could use nylon, a lot of people do use nylon, but I'm just going with what the guy wants. This does move more and it gives the fish a bit less leverage, but the rigidity of the tube there in the middle sort of stops the rear hook from coming round when you're casting and tangling up. Quite clever actually. So I'm just going to make sure that these strands of backing are straight. I don't want them twisted. I'm just going to take two wraps of thread, that's all. And I'll come in with the original. Well, I know it's about this length, but I just want to check. Spot on. There we go. So much as I did with the stuff in the rear hook to stop it rolling, take a spiral, and I'm going to leave plenty of space. I've got a good couple of eye lengths clear there. I'll pull this one back. Same on your side. Put it nice and tight. And this is very strong. Trim that away and just sort of fray the end slightly so it flattens. Same on my side. And because I've separated them down the sides, I don't have one big bump on the top. It sort of tapers relatively nicely, so I can put the tinsel on. So coming back here, same stuff, just silver, mylar, large. I mean, medium would be fine as well, just a large covers a bit quicker. Nice straight turn at the back and come along. nice and simple. There's a wee step there, don't worry about it. That's all going to be hidden. Tie off, trim away the waste, and again a whip finish. I don't need to put a sort of head area on this side. And with the varnish, and it's again a couple of coats. Alright, so we're back, everything's varnished and it's all set up, dry, nice and tough, nice and durable. We're ready to finish the fly, and it's dead simple. I'm just going to take a Chinese hackle, Chinese cock hackle. I'm tying this to suit the sample that I was sent, but to be honest, if I was tying it for myself, I think I'd put a hen hackle on, just to get a bit heavier fibre and a bit more movement in the pattern, but that's just personal preference. So just get my red, kind of blood red hackle, maybe tie it a wee bit longer than the sample, because it's quite a big fly. So you can go slightly larger than what you would normally think of as being proportional, simply because the flies obviously own the two hooks rather than just being one. And get plenty of hackle on it as well. It's big, so don't be shy. This is quite a thin barbed hackle that I've got here, so I'm really getting plenty of turns on. I didn't count it, but I want to get a lot of that colour. Fold the tip back, just break it away. Now I'm not going to force it flat as a beard, but I've got to tie back and then just push it down just to sort of lower it slightly and give me a bed to tie my wing on. And I'm using black, this is black Arctic Fox. I'm looking for the sort of longest fibres I can get on my patch. How's that? That long enough? Nearly. And it's not too heavy a wing on this, so once I've got a clump of hair, I'll come in and I'll cut it right tight to the skin. I'll clean out the bottom. See how that looks. You want the hair, the long fibres coming just to sort of the back hook. You know, some people like the back hook slightly closer, but I mean it's there for the tail nippers. That I tend to be of the opinion that if you're going to tie these tandems, they're not articulated flies as such. That's at the back there just to catch in, and it comes up and sort of nips at the tail. I don't want I don't want to have that sort of in the middle of the body. So we'll just pinch that in. See how we are. Quite like to look at that. Yeah, I'm just going to take a wee bit away there. And this is a nice soft hair, there's plenty of grip in your thread to hold it. I just come to the front, just keep the thread coming back up into it. You'll just take down a wee bit at a time, the cut ends. There's a nice wing. There's a wee bit of flash in the wing, and it's like a dark flash. So I've got this, it's like a mix of silver and pearl and sort of black. I've got a few strands. Try to get a kind of decent mix of all the different fibres. That one away. There we go. And then I'm just going to offer it up on my side. I'm not too worried about the length at this stage. I'm going to cut it, fold it over, take it in so it's sort of to the side of the wing rather than on top, which is kind of how it looks in the sample. And then just sort of push your scissors in so you can cut these to different lengths. And nothing longer than the overall length of the hair. You want them different lengths so that they swim independently. Right? If you tie them all the same length, they'll all clump together. So the last part is some peacock herl from an eye, and there's 5 in the sample fly, so I'll put 5 in this. But I mean, if it was 4 or 6, I don't think it would make any odds. So you can see when you rip them off, they're all sort of uneven and they want to bend in different directions. So to sort that out, I'll just trim away the curly bits off the rachis, and I'll sort of just line these up, set them in. The tips don't need to be, again, they don't need to be perfectly aligned, but you want them relatively close, and then you just roll them and they'll sort of come together. Don't worry too much about the overall shape yet, but you don't want them all curling in different directions. It just makes them unmanageable. Get them in on top of the wing, trim away the waist, and then just sort of curl them with the scissors, the back of your scissors. You'll see they'll sort of pull in or spring away as that one did, but just give it a wee roll, it will behave itself. There you go. And then just the same again, just come in, tidy up, build a nice head, keep it nice and clean, and don't be afraid to build it up. Again, it's a big fly, I'd rather have a wee bit bigger head, but it's nice and clean and a nice shape, than be striving for a tiny head and it's not that nice, you know. It's out of shape, or there's bits of the peacocks sticking up. A couple of wet finishes and then a couple of coats of varnish. I mean, you could, if you want it, I suppose, paint it or use like a fluorescent resin. But again, I'm just working from the fly that I was given. So once that's dry, we'll get another couple of coats and the fly's done. So hope that was useful, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up below, and we'll see you for another video. Thanks guys, bye.